We are live. Everything seems to be running. It did that thing to me again. Yep, it was not going to work and it was stuttering. I went in Task Manager and just shut a bunch of stuff, restarted it. Works now. So I didn't have to reboot the computer. That's good. At least for now. It's not stuttering. So let me know. Who is up against tax time right now, dealing with all that extension deadline crap? Yep. Hard to keep my mind focused on window tinting and tinting tools because tax time's upon us. Tax time is upon us. So what is going on? What's everybody up to these days? I feel like I should have more to talk about, but for the last week I've been so engulfed in paperwork, I have no idea what's even going on. But I'll tell you, thank God I got Ayana. She's in here bugging me to order stuff because we're running out of stuff, and she's like, "We need to order this," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, we should do that then." Missing all the notifications on my phone. So far, it does not look like I'm missing anything good. Nothing spectacular. Oh shoot, the Tigers are down in Houston, game one of the playoffs that they should not have been in. What's up with that? I almost forgot. It seems like it's stuttering a little bit, but not crazy. I'm not sure what's going on. Just not sure. But whatever it is, it's happening. It's raining outside. It's actually raining quite a bit outside. And the wind's blowing. I don't like it. I don't like it much at all. How's my audio? I don't have anybody to test audio with anymore. The rain's about halfway done. We had a little storm to the south of us, but it missed. The rain didn't, though. It's raining. You see sweeps of rain running across the parking lot. Oh, I stuttered. Tell me it's this doing that. I don't know what it is. Maybe my computer needs a checkup. It's been a minute. Anna tells me it's because I don't shut my damn computer off at night. Oh, guess what I got? I got some samples from Fusion. I thought I ordered all the stuff that I could, but I must have missed something because they sent me some samples and I got a couple things that I didn't order. And I know you guys have seen them. Let me grab them real quick. I have Fusion stuff and now I'm stuttering again. What the heck is going on? Did this to me last week too. But we got hand jobs in colors. Huh? How's that? It's pretty slick, huh? We've got shorties in color. Oh, these aren't very good looking colors on screen. Let's do this. We're going to go ahead and switch to here, 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 and here. All right. So we've got these. These are vibrant. So That'll help you not lose your squeegee. If you've ever lost a squeegee in the back seat of a car because you set it down and it just blended in and you were trying to get the car out and then off it drove and you're like, "Oh shit, where's my squeegee?" And then the old traditional Fusion fight. What is going on with this stuttering? I don't know. There's something up with my computer and I don't know what it is. Whatever it is, it keeps happening. I'll have to figure out what it is. That I could shut that. None of this should matter. That, shut that. I'm gonna shut a lot of things. This probably don't need. No, don't need none of those. Then don't need that. Probably don't need that either. There, I shut everything. And it may or may not fix it. But yeah, so these colors are cool. And since that's off, that'll show you just kind of why that I got too much light in here. This thing is just badass. And this is the gasket pro handle. One thing I like about this, see the gasket pro squeegee blades, I don't have any in here, but they're a little bit shorter. So this is designed much like a fusion handle, but you notice the lip here on the underside is actually, let me line that up, is actually shorter. So the squeegee gives you just as much support on the top side, but on the bottom side, it don't. And this is a screwless design, so that's kind of cool. It holds really tight, but you gotta wet. Oh, there it goes again. It's doing that again. What the hell? But you gotta wedge the squeegee blade in here, and it holds it super tight, and then you can just pull it out and put a new one in when you want to change it. So that's cool about that. But these, you're all familiar with the shorty. It's just a shorty handle, but it's cool colors. So I like that. And then of course the hand job or handy, but these ones both say hand job on them. So I don't know if they have this in the handy. But I'm about to lose my mind over this stuttering video thing. Maybe I should just minimize it. What's up, Roberto? Oh, UPS is here picking up. Orders are going out the door now. Yeah, I have no idea. Oh. No idea why my computer is doing what it's doing. And yeah, it's even showing you my mess in the background. I don't like that. Let's switch back to this. That hides at least part of the mess. But before I switch back to this, I got to come to this and I got to turn this back on. That way back there looks a little bit more normal. And there I go stuck again. Not sure why it does that. Maybe I should just plan on restarting my computer. Here, all. I doubt it's a notification. No, it's not lagging like steady like it was last week. It's just every now and again it freezes just for a couple seconds. And it's doing it. Yep, there it goes right there. I'm froze, and now I'm unfroze. So I don't know what's going on with it. I think it's tolerable. It's just gives me that max headroom vibe. So I don't know. What are you gonna do? But yeah, and honestly, I don't really know what to talk about. I've been so stuck in everything that's happening behind the scenes. I have no idea what's going on in the real world. Anybody want to bring me up to speed? Like, I do know that the Lions went out and beat the hell out of the Seahawks last night, so that was kinda cool, and I know that the Detroit Tigers are playing their first postseason game in a decade, so that's exciting, but I only know that because I listen to the radio on the way home and the way to work, and they talk about it. I get to watch football on the football days, so there's that. I'm not sure. I'm just not sure. You guys don't wanna talk about anything? Nope, I'm froze again. Love it. Just love it. Look at the task manager, and I don't see anything crazy. I mean, CPU's getting wore down a bit. Uh, Memory. Nope. Disk, network, everything's good. I don't know what it is. Ever since the last Windows update. Yep, I'm gonna blame that because I don't know otherwise. You know what I mean? Me too. Insight on thicker films. So there's there to me, and this is my opinion because one thing that I have noticed reading people's insights is everyone's got an opinion. And one thing that I had to learn about myself is, and it probably applies to everybody, but I do know it applies to me, is just because you believe it doesn't make it true. And I got to remind myself of that sometimes because I believe that thin film is garbage, but too thick is also garbage. Now, the reason too thick is garbage to me is because I'm about efficiency. I want things to move along quickly. So when I'm shrinking film, I want it to shrink relatively quickly. And if the film gets too thick, the thicker it gets, the slower it's going to shrink. So I want it somewhere right in the middle. And anywhere from 1.5 mil to 2 mil, I'm happy with. Anything over 2 mil, I'm not as pleased with. I've played with some automotive 4 mil security film, and I just voted against it because it was too much to shrink. And so yeah. But the thin stuff, it shrinks super fast, but it's just a pain in the ass to handle. You need a little bit of rigidity. Where the thicker films, you go beyond convenient to shrink, and the thicker films, they're super easy to handle. You don't crease them, they're rigid. So there's definitely that. And I will touch on plies a little bit though. If you're using a one ply film, you're probably using a ink or a glue dyed film, which means that your your dye is mixed in with the adhesive, which is the first defense against the sun. They fade out really fast, like really fast. And um, a dual a a dual layer film is going to be constructed in such a way that, say, this is the glue side. The glue is going to have a product called euthanol in it. And don't get me wrong, a lot of your glue dyed films, single layer, single ply films, are going to a lot of your single ply films are going to have ethanol in the adhesive also, but so you got adhesive in the adhesive, you got dye in the adhesive, and you got ethanol in the adhesive. How effective can the adhesive be? You know what I mean? But on top of that, all that is mixed up, so all of that is diluted one way or another. Where a two ply film is going to have one layer is going to have pretty much just a clear polyester with adhesive on it. And on that clear polyester or in the adhesive, depending on the manufacturer, is going to have the ethanol, which is going to protect everything behind it, which is going to be your piece of polyester the with the dye in it or the coloring of, if it's a carbon, it's going to have the carbon color. And so two play film, if you're going to do it professionally, it's kind of necessary unless you're one of those fly by night, do it cheap guys. But if you're a fly by night, do it cheap guy using a one play film, it's probably slowing you down and making it harder to do your job. And you can spend a little bit more money on your film and make it up in time, because one thing I can promise you is your time costs more than your film. Anywhere you slice it, you only get so many hours in a day. And I know you can work 7 days a week and you can work 16 hours a day. I've been there. I was young once. Don't fall for the fact that old people were always old. But one thing that I learned is you got to set time aside for yourself. You got to be able to do things for yourself. You got to be able to do things. If you're going to have a family, you got to be able to contribute to the family. And therefore, you're going to want to restrict your work hours. You're going to want to work in a certain set of hours. But even if you do work 16 days a week, 7 hours a day, you still only get so many hours and you only have so much time. So the more efficient you can be, the more your time becomes worth. And when you realize how efficient you can be and what your time can be worth, I mean, I can pretty much tint any car complete and make every single customer happy in under an hour. So, and I say any, but that's not true. There's cars out there that are going to kick my ass and take longer than an hour. But most cars, your average four-door sedan or crew cab pickup or whatever, it's going to take me about an hour or less, and the customer is going to be happy. I also charge top dollar, and it used to be top dollar, but honestly, we're at about $289 for dyed film on a four-door sedan. It takes about an hour. So I like to only work 8 hours a day, so that's about 8 cars a day. And I don't want to spend 2 hours, 3 hours on a car, because even at 289 a car, it really shortens things up. And over the last week that I've been struggling with this paperwork for the profits and losses and everything, if you're going to run a real business, it is so hard to foresee all the behind the scenes costs that go along with running it. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Let me get to the comments here real quick. Roberto says, was thinking about when I started purchasing tools from you guys and you would send little extras. Now everybody does, LOL. I seriously believe you started a trend. I've started a lot of trends, Roberto. And I mean, a lot of trends. And like when I started doing Tool Talk, there was, I mean, so you had Jason Omaleski doing, well, it's now Tenor Tuesdays, but he was doing something on Instagram, and he decided that having a platform with some kind of scenery behind him and guests and stuff, he thought that would be cool. So he did that. And but look at how many people jumped in and thought they were going to do some sort of a weekly talk thing, and look how many of them stopped doing it. But Tink Keg, you know, I'm the creator of Tink. Actually, Carrie Yoakum's the creator of Tink Keg, because without her and the branding that she put behind it, and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to lay claim to pressure kegs and corny kegs, because they've been around since I was a kid. Um, I'm the one that branded them and made them a little more professional for our industry. And look at all the people that jumped on board, and just took off with it. And look at how many people aren't doing it anymore because it's a it's a thing. So yeah, I've started a few trends. The online click and buy, the e-commerce website for tools and stuff. When I started at 44 Tools was the only one doing it, but I was really active for a while on Facebook and stuff, and I was making a lot of noise, and I was making a lot of noise about my website and really trying to promote things. And next thing you know, pretty much everybody's got a click and buy option for their products now, and that's super cool. Where you used to have to call and place your orders, and the problem with having to call and place your orders is we learn in our areas of our industry what we call different tools. And then you've got the manufacturers that have names for them. So the suppliers know them by those names. And then the suppliers need to learn the slang names that we call things. And that just makes it complicated. And I've always worked under the premise to be who I needed. And what I needed was simplification in my life. And that's why, I thought it really important that you be able to buy your film and your tools right online, hassle free. We're still here if you want to call and talk. And we've got a lot of old school customers that just absolutely do not want to deal with the website. And that's cool too. One of the problems is, when you call and get on the phone with me, you're probably going to be on the phone for an hour because I tell stories, you tell stories, I tell more stories, you tell other more stories. And next thing you know, it's like, holy shit, got to get back to work. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's funny how when other companies that copied you don't send out extras, people get disappointed or are expecting it. Yeah, actually, this year's been tough. We have not sent out much for extras at all. I mean, I still do extra. Like for instance, had a guy from Puerto Rico call me yesterday, and he's like, "Hey, I just got a refund. Um, like, what's that for? Why?" And what had happened, and you ain't going to find other companies doing this because nobody wants to give the money back to the customer unless they're asked to, right? So he's like, "What happened?" And I'm like, "Oh, nothing happened. I noticed that you ordered twice and you ordered next day air both times. That's really expensive. So we took both of your orders, combined them into one box, and refunded you the difference in what you paid for shipping." He's like, "Oh, that was a lot. Thank you." And like, I don't know, it just, to me, that's the right thing to do. I would want somebody to do that for me. I wouldn't want to have to, and I get people call first thing in the morning because it happens a lot. People will click, you know, pay now and order submitted. Oh fuck. I needed blades too. All right. And then they just do it. And then they call first thing the next morning and there I go freezing again. This crazy freezing damn computer. I don't get it. But anyways, yeah, and we'll come in and the phones turn on promptly at 9 o'clock. And I can't tell you how many times by 9:05 the phone's ringing and somebody's panicking. Or I get the middle of the night email saying, "Hey, I placed an order and I forgot this. Is there anything you can do for the shipping on the second one?" And honestly, if you're ordering after hours, I promote that 100%. One thing we really like to do is come in the morning and hit the ground running. But if we do notice you placed two orders and paid shipping twice, we are going to refund you the difference. Um, we're not going to keep your money. I know a lot of companies would because a lot of companies have people that are just employees getting paid by the hour or whatever to pack your stuff. They don't know, they don't care. They're just there to do a job and click buttons, punch a clock, and get a paycheck. And we're not like that here. Your job working for Sun Distributing is to pretend you're the customer. What would you want? And that's our mantra around here. What would you want if you were the customer? And if I was the customer and I had to make two orders, I would want to get the shipping back on one of them. Unless of course I ordered 3 rolls of film and then I remembered I needed some Fusion all type. And then I ordered 4 more gallons of all type. Now, there's a chance if you order 3 rolls of film and 4 gallons of all type, you've broke the 750 threshold. And if you broke the 750 threshold, guess what? Your shipping's free. So if you happen to pay shipping on the first one and pay shipping on the second one, and the combined total equals 750, I refund all your shipping. And you don't even have to call me. You know, that's just how that works. So I dig it. Quality Tint and Detail LLC. Hey, good to catch a show again. I've done a couple jobs with the Helios film and it went well. Thanks, Jeff. Sweet. I like to put a name to a business name on Quality. Wait a minute. We did a custom keg wrap for you. I remember. I'm like, why does that name seem familiar? That's right. Now, if I remember right, we changed it. Aren't you like from Hawaii or something? Now I need to remember. I have to open a window because I'm gonna let's see, where would it be? Where would it be? Purchase custom prints. I'm gonna find your wrap, maybe. There it is. Oh yeah, the koala. Yup. I have no idea how I ever remember what I do. Was that the right one? Oh, that's approve. Yeah, that might not be the right one. Actually, I think it's the same. This one is bum bum bum. This one's better because it's high res. The other one seemed a little fuzzy. That's why I was like, is this the right one? Check that out. Oregon. That's not quite the same as Hawaii, is it? I love it. I love it. Let's share this one. Bing, bing. There it is. Are you Roberto? Are you talking about the Fresh Edge? The problem with that is I have a hard time maintaining inventory on products that tinners are 3D printing. See, 3D printing takes a long time, and so puts a new when somebody puts a new product out, and I fell for it with the rack, but I really loved the idea of the rack. So I jumped on board with that, and we constantly have them on back order. And you know, Corey is just he ships me everything that he can get made, but you know, we get them, and Autobahn gets them, and he sells them. So he's got I think 6 or 8 printers running 24/7, and just can't keep up. And so when you get something like the Fresh Edge, until he starts getting that molded, it's too popular of an idea, and I won't be able to have them in stock. And I stress, you know, if you know anything about me, you know that I am 100%. It's mandatory that if you get your order in by 4 p.m., I ship it the same day. Well, if I don't have the inventory, it makes it really hard to do, and I, I just maybe if he was to get some tooling made and have it molded so that he could actually provide quantity, I would definitely carry him. But for right now, I just I'm not ready yet. I don't think the availability is there for distributorship, even though I think 44 Tools picked them up, didn't they? Which I used to make sure 44 Tools didn't get anything I didn't get, but honestly, just dealing with certain things that I can't keep my hands on is its own kind of. Yeah, I thought about buying a 3D printer. The thing is, I'm not going to knock off somebody else's product either. But as far as like the racks go, I thought about asking Corey, hey, how about I just get a couple printers and I'll just tell you how many I print and I'll pay you for them. Minus the cost of the plastic and wear and tear on the machines, and I can make my own supply. It's still his product, but I don't really have that kind of time or manpower around here to be babysitting printers all day either. So I don't know. And to get plastics molded, oh my God, you're talking 20, $30,000 for a single mold. And that's before you get a single plastic part made. And then if like and I learned this with the rack because I was trying to help Corey figure out how we could get these made more efficiently. And so his wall mount part would actually be a 2 or a 3 part mold. And those get even more money. He could be $30,000-$40,000 for the mold just to make the wall mount, and the the number of the that he'd have to sell to make up for that. And besides that, remember this is a Tinter's design and a Tinter's product working with Tinter money. And I know Tinter money is good, but um, it's not as good as we think it is. It just isn't. But when that's where you're working, even if you got a good job, window tinting is a good job too. So even if you got a good paying job, you can make good money. My stepson um tints for us, and he's got a master's degree. And he elected to use his master's degree as a plan B because he's having such a good time and making good money tinting windows. So obviously it would be difficult to go to a job that isn't as enjoyable physically. So yeah, there's definitely good money in it. But I hear people saying, tenors make doctor money. And I don't know if you're aware of what doctors make, but there's a lot of doctors that make seven figures, and most tenors don't make seven figures. Definitely don't if you're working for somebody. If you're working for yourself and you got a good crew, I mean, it's doable. Our company was breaking $1 million in a year um, here in Michigan, but we had a lot of tenors, so there was a lot of payroll going out. It was nuts, but that's because I always believed to be who you needed, and what I needed as an up and coming tenor was somebody that'd pay me enough to support my family comfortably. And so that's what I did with my tenors, even though tenors are a different breed. I don't care if you give them 95% of the money you're bringing in, they end up leaving you because they're not going to let you make money off of them. And I can promise you, there is one tenor that over the years worked for me is out there breaking seven digits. And all the rest of them took a pay cut to leave, even though they're going to go out there and get 100%. And that's another thing I crack up when I see people arguing about how much a tenor should be paid in the industry. There's a topic I could really get on. What are you using for slip with the Helios? We use all type. And the reason I use all type is because the only thing in it is what my tint needs to slip. There's no fragrance in it. There's no colors to make it special. There's no nothing. There is just whatever the magical potion is that makes tint slip, which means it locks down really nice. And it's just, what's a guy have to do to get a sample of Helios film? You don't have to do a lot, but you should probably make a phone call and call us and we can get you a sample out. Now, we are a lot like a lot of companies are, and I hate to be a follower rather than a leader. You know, it's been pretty customary for um, tint suppliers to just give out free samples. The problem with that is it's not cheap. The shipping isn't cheap, and the clutter from, you know, everyone wants a different shade. And what I really like is like, I believe it's Autobahn is setting a standard. And you know, I should give credit to Flex Film, Ralph over there. He started the trend, but selling a 10-foot sample, that way you can pay for the shipping. You can try it out. Everybody knows you're going to take your sample and make some money off of it. Not everybody does that, but 90% of you do. And I was giving out free samples like it was, I don't know, like it was nothing. You know, I was giving out free samples like it was nothing. And so many people, they'll get their free sample, but then they don't use it and it just sits. And I'm guilty of that. Companies would, without solicitation, companies would send me a free sample and I'd get it. And I'm like, huh. And it would either go in the garbage or it'd go on a shelf because one day I might try it. But I have a steadfast rule. See, the reason I know that some of you don't make money off of your samples, I'm one of those that won't put a sample on a customer's car, period. I will remove the film off of my own car and put it on there. That'll give me an idea how I like working with it. It'll give me an idea how it looks. And chances are it's not going to stay on the car long enough for me to see how long it lasts. But if somebody gives me a sample of film to try out and wants me to buy their film, they don't want me to wait 3 to 5 years to see if it fails. And God, I'm gonna have to restart my computer after this. Oh, speaking of after this, it is 5 o'clock already. Although I got a late start, so if that counts for anything. I was actually sitting here thinking, damn, you know, I finally got what I had to get done over the last week done before Tool Talk, and I was sitting here breathing, and I just wasn't quite sure I was wanting to do Tool Talk because, like, emotionally, psychologically, I'm exhausted. But yeah, Roberto, if you want to give a call tomorrow, because as of in about 15 seconds, the phone's going to shut off. It's automated that way. It turns on at 9 o'clock and it turns off at 5 o'clock. But I will tell you, if you need to get a hold of us, you can text the very same number. It goes to an app on all the computers. It goes to an app on my phone, and we can respond back that way. If you ever have an issue or a question, and hey, what's up, Matt? If you ever have an issue or a question or a problem with something, that's the other cool thing about our phone system is you're welcome to take a picture or even a short video and send it in to give us a visual of what you're talking about. Another thing that we can do is I'm always happy to go on video chat with you. So if you're struggling to shrink something, and I don't care if it's my film or not, obviously I'd prefer you to use my film. And if you did use my film, I can promise I'm not going to get as many phone calls trying to walk you through shrinking, because maybe I'll do a, maybe next week that's what we'll set up. Let me, maybe actually Ayana may or may not be buying a new car. And if she does, maybe we can get her to bring her new car in and we can tint that on the show. And then I can show you how our film shrinks. I know there's one guy out there showing how Autobahn shrinks like butter. The i3 stuff that's like super expensive. What if I told you, although it's not cheap, but my cheapest film shrinks that good? And so do all my films above that. One thing about Helios window film is you'll find that every line that I carry is fantastic. I am not one of those. One thing that always bothered me about other film companies was the fact that I don't know what their names mean of their films, and they're randomized, and they have garbage film and they have fantastic film, and I don't know which is which, and I would need to be able to ask somebody. So I'm not 100% sure if I'm not 100% sure if I did well, but I tried to name my film line in a more logical order. So I've got Orbit, Nova, and Supernova. To me, Orbit is just something that goes around, you know. Nova is kind of a big thing, and Supernova, well, that's even bigger. And then we got Supernova Alpha because, King Alpha. So that's the order in which they go from bottom to top on the tiers. But I don't have an economy line. You'll notice that my Orbit, which is the only dyed film that I carry, is almost as expensive as my Carbon. And my ceramic, it bumps up quite a bit. And then the Alpha is like that stuff that everybody has that is just out of a lot of people's reach financially. It's just expensive, which is why I only carry it in 40-inch rolls, but I do sell it in 25-foot increments because I do believe that everybody should have the ability to get their hands on the Alpha film. And by the way, my Alpha is up to 99% IR rejection. It's insane. I think we're spouting somewhere in the 70s in teaser. It's nuts. And its clarity is phenomenal. Its shrinkability is fantastic. Its usability is great. Because those are requirements. I jumped on the ceramic bandwagon way early in the game when the stuff was like rubbery and really hard to work with. And I really appreciate the film that I have today because it's easy to work with. It's not rubbery. It shrinks great. That low angle haze that used to be a thing isn't a thing with mine. You wouldn't even know. Even if you take it out in the sun, you're not going to be able to tell. Is this ceramic? I can't tell. I don't see any haze. Well, put a meter on it. You can tell. It's just fantastic. Yep, Nova. They all shrink fantastic. It's a criteria of mine. I've been tinting windows for over 35 years, and I'm not I'm not interested in something that I have to struggle with because, like I said in the beginning, I believe this wholeheartedly. Just because I believe it doesn't make it true, but I wholeheartedly believe that my time is way more valuable than the product that I'm putting on a customer's car. You know, that's not to say that I can get away with putting cheap product. I'm saying I can afford to put a more expensive product on a customer's car because if it makes my time more efficient, I can make up for it in the long run. Do you realize that a $30 a roll difference is about a $10, no, it ain't, is about a $3 a car difference in cost? $100 a roll difference for a 40-inch roll. So if you spend $100 more on a roll of film and you don't throw film in the garbage when you're tinting, it's a $10 difference on your cost. Now, how much of your time's worth $10? About 5 minutes of my time is worth, so if I can gain 5 minutes, it's worth the extra money. Now, good news is comparable films, Helios is not $100 a roll more than. In fact, you'll find that its counterparts out there that people adore, Helios film is priced less. And that's just because I set the prices. It's my freaking film. And wait a minute. How many film brand owners are out there spouting about their own film? I can think of one. That's Ralph Van Pelt. Nothing against that man. You know, he's the pioneer of the ceramic. I mean, don't get me wrong. He is not the inventor, the creator. He's not the first one to bring it to market. Um, he's the first one to make it accessible, and he went out on a limb to do so. He gets a lot of knack for stumbling, and trying to figure out as he went. But Ralph is a lot like me. He's a window tinter. He came from a tint background. A lot of people don't realize that because he's been so long since he's tinted, and you don't hear him talking about tinting. In fact, I'm pretty sure he was just building another tint studio at his property because he understands the value of being tinting. And one of the regrets I have about getting this building is the fact that I didn't really set myself up a place where I can conveniently tint. So, Adelina, what's up? I'm froze again, and I'm unfroze again. I don't know why it does that. Is it still freezing on you guys back and forth? A little bit here and there, or is it just my side? I'm pretty sure it's everybody's side. And over here, I've got OBS, which is where everything goes into, and then it goes from there over here to Restream. And on OBS, it doesn't lag and it doesn't do that as it's doing now. But over here, it's every now and again it just freezes and then it unfreezes, and I don't know why. What's up, Adelina? I'm having a good time. It's 5:08. Yep, every now and then. Yeah, it just isn't. I don't know. If it ain't bothering you guys, I wished I could say it's not bothering me. It is bothering me. Otherwise, I wouldn't still be talking about it, right? But whatever. It's good enough. Braden, what's up? For PPF, don't tell the locals, but we use Expel. Expel's got a good product, and it's just it's just a good solid product. And I don't know. Brittany likes it, so we use it. And that boils down again, Expel, expensive product. You're paying a lot of money for the name behind it. But she loves the technology, and I don't have enough bandwidth to go out and I don't have enough money to actually bring in my own line of um PPF. I actually did get a sample roll, and that sample roll still sits in the box. And I bought a whole 50-foot roll. I mean, this stuff is talked up and it's supposed to be absolutely amazing. And I really wanted to, but factoring in what it costs to get going, this is not the year for that. Everyone clicked the like button. Yeah, tell me about it. Why didn't tell the locals, LOL? Well, you know how people get about their territories, and we've got Expel dealers in the neighborhood, let's say. Now, don't get me wrong. We were there first. We carried Expel first. But I have my own film line, and that's what we use. And Expel's got this thing about wanting you to use their product, only their product. And we're not willing to do that. So we just keep hush hush. We still use that. And as long as the guy down the street that's using only their product um, doesn't throw a fuss, then we're good. And we get to keep using their product. Although we have gotten threatening emails saying, we notice you're not buying window film and you guys are a tent shop. And, every time we get a new rep, that's what happens. We get that generic email telling us that they're going to pull the line from us. And we just call them and explain to him who we are. And that seems to be enough sometimes. I miss the good old days when I was there, though, and I'd be the one making the phone calls because then I get to make new connections. And now I just get to make orders go out the door the best that I can. Well, I haven't missed anything important yet. So that's exciting. All right, guys, it is 10 after 5. Where is Britt? I should bring her back on the show. I should, and I've been thinking about that. I'm trying to figure out how to make it work. Today wasn't a good day. Her and her mother run the tent shop on the other side of town. And so there seems like there's potential to get her back on the show. Today wasn't a good day because her mother does all the flat glass work. And her mother had a job today. So she's out doing that. And so Brittany's running the tent shop solo, which doesn't really afford her the ability to step out and do that. But I do kind of miss having Brittany. She's a lot of fun. She's got that wit about her and she connects with people and she keeps me on topic, sort of. Yep. I should bring the show to the tent shop. That's actually not a terrible idea. I should really consider that. I don't think they would be mad. And at the tent shop, I could probably bring you guys a little more value because you could ask questions. And if they got a car behind me being worked on, well, we could just go over there and show you. It's not too hard. And with Restream's kind of cool because you can log in from multiple computers. You can log in with your phone. And so you're like, it's real easy to be mobile and mobile. I know you guys always see me just sitting here and maybe because I'm lazy. I'm not sure. There's definitely a reason for it. I don't know what that is yet. I had to take a phone call. What slip solution? Oh, you're just going to have to go back and watch the replay now. Get me more views. No, I'm kidding. All type. We use all type because it's clean and it's clear and it doesn't have any extra additives in it. And we love it because when you press your squeegee on it to lock it down, it locks down and it doesn't fail. It's made by Fusion, who is a very big supporter of our industry. That's important. I know a lot of people, they look for, what's cheaper, but the reality is if you want supporters of the industry and not just people trying to make money off the industry, then buy from people that are in the industry that are trying to support, or yeah, be a support for the industry. And don't worry about if they're making a living off of you buying stuff, because if you go somewhere else and buy stuff, those people are making a living off of you too. It's crazy. But if you buy something, somebody's making a living off of it. Why not let it be another tinner or somebody that's grew up in the tent industry? Because that's I don't know. That's just how my brain works, anyways. And like I said earlier, and I'll keep saying it again, just because I believe it doesn't make it true, but I believe it. So till somebody shows me otherwise, it's true for me. Oh, that's so much better. God, I love being able to see out of my glasses. I should have done that this morning. Woo, lovely. Anyhow, now it is 5:15. Every 5 minutes, I'm going to remind you guys what time it is and that I need to get out of here. So it's got what tent needs. It does. Ew. Campaign slogan. It's got what tent needs. So, Matt, which Matt is this? Because I know too many Matts. I can't imagine it's Matt Blackmer, although it could be. Uh, No, no too many Matts. And Matt Blackmer is the only one that pops in my head right now. Yep, yep. Oh, and another question, was you guys surprised when you saw it pop up and it didn't say Tool Talk Tuesday? I was getting bored with that. It's like every single video on the YouTube channel says Tool Talk Tuesday, and I'm like, huh, how do you tell those apart? You don't. And then I was like, well, what do I call this one? I don't even remember what I called it. Do you guys remember what I called? Oh, just another day in the life of a tinner. I'm gonna have to get a little more creative, but yeah, it was a good start. Still training and starting bio shop soon. Is that maybe my own shop soon? Are you speech to texting? Adeline, it was a nice surprise. It was clickbait, lol. No, this really is the life. Um, if you swing by the warehouse, this is what you'd get. We'd sit around BS. I'd answer your questions. With you here, though, I would make it a little more accessible for me to show you stuff because I haven't figured out how to make that happen. Although I might be able to figure out how to make that happen if I could keep that in my mind long enough. But right now, I need to figure out how to build a shed. Has anybody ever built a shed before? Because I haven't, but I've built decks, I've built walls, and I gotta believe it's really just a combination of the two. I've not built a roof yet, but I could do that too, I'm sure. I'm thinking it's a lot like the floor, which is a lot like a deck, just flipped around and put at an angle. Yep. And to get the angle, I'm assuming I just make one wall taller than the other wall. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. But I may or may not be building a shed this weekend. Too sure. I tried to buy a shed, one of those prefab sheds, over the weekend, but those things are expensive. So I did what any good red blooded tinner does, and I made an offer and then was told, well, I can't authorize that price, and my boss doesn't come in until Monday. So I'll get a hold of my boss Monday and I'll call you and let you know. Well, I didn't get a phone call, so I'm feeling like either they forgot, which I guess is fine, or the boss said no and they didn't feel it necessary to call me back. But I was pretty clear that I wasn't that interested in budging. Although they have a 90-day same as cash program. So like I could make it in 3 payments and pay full price, but I didn't really want to do that. Either way, they didn't call me back. So now I'm thinking maybe I just build a shed. I mean, it's 4 walls, a floor, and a roof. And the question is, it's going to be on asphalt. Do I really need a floor, or can I just use treated wood that is on the ground and build everything above it and have the asphalt be the floor? Huh. I didn't even think about that, Joe. Holy shit. That is a great idea. I used to be quite the barterer. Oh, look at me all froze again. Oh, there I am. I don't even know. Any idea how the Tigers are doing right now? They even playing yet? Is it a night game? Holy shit, it's 3-zip. In the bottom of the ninth, are you let's go. Oh my god, the Tigers guys. They're doing things that they said couldn't be done. Do you realize at the end of July, they gave the Tigers a 0.2% chance of making the playoff? And since then, they are indisputably the best team in baseball. And I don't mean the best team because they're the best team. They just have the best record in baseball since then. They're just fucking unstoppable. And I ain't even a baseball fan, but this is exciting just to see. At the trade deadline, they sold. They got rid of their second best pitcher to get a couple future prospects. It's like, guys, you're not that far off. But the whole world had them wrote off, and the players were like, they can't tell us what we can and can't do. Watch this. So yeah, now they're out there. It is just about over, and oh my goodness, it doesn't get much more exciting than that. Yep. Holy cow. 3-0. Scooble's getting it done. All right, guys. So I'm froze again. It is 5:22. I'm 2 minutes late for this, letting you know that it's after 5. I'm going to get out of here, though. I got to go home and do that thing that I preach about and spend some family time with family. So until next week, guys, and I will be back next week unless something bigger than me happens, and I can't. So I will see you then, and I'll try to come up with something a little bit more relevant next week. We'll see. Maybe I'll work on coming to you live from the tent